All right, all right. How's everybody doing? Today, Captain Eritrea is live, and I bring to you my brother, Mikey Tigray. I wanted to say his last name, but I'm not going to say it.
You're
Mikey
good. You're
Tigray.
good. You're good. Say it, bro. Say it.
It's not like you guys don't know my brother. Kulang Potway, homie. Jigna, Howay, he's been working with me tirelessly since the beginning. And I wanted to say thank you. Check him out. He's representing. Um, بوزع إريتراوي أمس له خابزي show Tegaru ska حجي خمسة so they can give you their perspective and so on. And we're working in collaboration for unity and peace. So I want everybody to welcome my brother Mike, Mickey Tigray. He's got his own show. I'm gonna give him the opportunity to tell us a little bit about himself. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Dawit. Thank you, everyone. أخواتنا تجارو إرتراويان عالم ملء زلهم الأمانات فلتويهم سايبر باور تجراي دم حلال زينا بإنجليزيا أنك أنا تجرينا بدن بيزارب إنجليزيا بدن بتساقم يولن عربيا شوية شوية. So for those of you who are joining us, um, Captain Eritrea and I have been coordinating, communicating from day one when the genocide started in Tigray, when there nearly 100,000 Eritrean refugees were in danger. We never wavered. We never made story up. We've told the truth from day one. The Eritrean troops out of Tigray, the genocide, the mass starvation, the rape, everything that have happened in Tigray, and that's still happening in Tigray. Some people have been calling us that somehow he's becoming Wayane or he's becoming a betrayal and all this stuff that has been said about Captain Eritrea or me being told that I'm somehow paid to PLF. Let me tell you something, man. I'm blessed to be American, but I'm also blessed to be Tigray. So at the end of the day, I speak the truth. I speak for justice for everybody, no matter what. I was a BLM protester for many, many years. Okay. As a black man in America, I stand for peace, for justice everywhere in the world. So justice and freedom to all means all human beings around the world. Anyway, so my name is Mike Casahun. For those of you who don't know me, I go by Miki Tigray. That's just my show name on Cyber Power of Tigray, in case if you haven't heard about it.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you coming to the show. I know you've been a very strong activist. حجزنا بزح but the Salama Selfie event that's happening in LA. Mike is a key player in that Salama Selfie. I wanted to bring him on. I'm سأيو خزار بكم بزعبات Salama Selfie. So سبقرو قلت لكم what's happening. جينتي much arrest that destination and Izaraboli now he knows this, but we're gonna give you a little briefing on safety and to expect to go through so Mike, can you speak a little bit about um, what is the Salama selfie we're doing and why?
Of course, bro. So I'm gonna mix up Tigrinya for you guys too. For those of you like around the world who English may not be your main language, but primarily the plan is we've been working together, Eritreans and Tegaru, like myself, been Tigray American, Tigrayan American. Um, we want to show all of you. When I say all of you, the mindful, clean mind, clean heart, Eritreans and Tegaru. The crisis we see in Tigray is not right. It's not okay. We can all have a different political view. We can all respectfully disagree. But we do not stand for genocide. We do not stand for rape. We do not accept Eritrea entering into a foreign land and invading and attacking civilians. So, because of that, like I mentioned, Captain Eritrea has been called names. I've been called names. But you know what? From very limited people. When I say that, because most people from Tigray and Eritrea understands everything what's happening, and we are coming together. So what we're doing is we opened up a channel for you, platform for you. In this platform, but most importantly, in person, we're going to meet up in LA side by side, Eritreans and Tegaru. And I wasn't going to say this, but Captain's not going to like this. This is what we're going to do on Saturday. There's many people that's been working in this. I want to give credit to everybody, but there will be four of us. Two of us, you guys are seeing right here. The other two gentlemen who are not here right now. One of them is supposed to be actually here right now. That's been working behind the scene with other fellow Eritreans and Tigrians. The four of us will stand in front of all of you in LA. We will hold hand in hand and we'll show you that Tegaru, Eritrean, Idna, تتحيزنا ጎኒ ጎኒ ከም ዘለና ዕላማና መስመርና ሓንቲ እያ ዝጭቆን ዘሎ ህዝቢ መከናገፍ ዝስራሕ ዘሎ ህዝቢ ኣይንቕበሎን ኢልና ብሓደ ተሲና ኣብ ሎስ አንጀለስ ንዓለም ክነርእዮ ኢና ፀገም ናይ ኤርትራ ህዝብን ናይ ትግራይ ህዝብን ኣይኮነን ፀገም እቶም ተወሰኑ ስልጣን ዝሓዙ ኮራኹር ናይ ኢሳያስ አፈወርቂ ኮራኹር ናይ ለይባ መሽረፈት አሕመድ ንኣቶም ከም ዘይንድግፎም ክነርእዮም ኢና Anyway, we'll continue the discussion, but that's just kind of brief introduction of the protest.
Excellent, excellent. So, as far as ኣብቲ ሰላማዊ ሰልፊ ብዙሕ ከዳናገሩ ክመፁ ከምታት ምሻሎ ዝረኣና ሓንቲ disgraceful ሰበይቲ ኣነ disgraceful ይብላስ ቁሩብተይ ንሓበሻ ትሕፍር መፅአን እቲኦም ኣሕዋትና መይስ ገራ ሃሪማቶም what plans ኣለና ከመይ ጌርና ኢና ነቲ ህዝቢ protect ንገብሮ ካብዚኦም ደርጊ ሒዞም support ዝገብሩ what plans in do we have in place to protect the people actually in the ሰላማዊ ሰልፊ?
Okay, so I'm not gonna go into super detail, but let me tell you guys, I'm meeting with the LAPD tomorrow. Okay, let me just be clear. We will have X number of armed police officers in plain clothes, retired military vets, sheriff deputies, name it. And you guys will see me around. I estimate anywhere between 60 to 80 plainclothes individuals that will be all over. We'll have a system will be communicated encrypted and an open channel of radio. And we're going to keep it peaceful. So if we have some people who don't agree with what we do, who supports genocide, who don't agree, for those of us who speak with one voice, say no to massacre, say no to genocide, if you have issue with that, you probably won't be able, surviving that long. We're not going to beat you up. We're not going to intimidate, threaten you. We're going to ask you to leave. We're going to have a number of uniform officers on motorcycle, on vehicles from the LAPD. I believe LAPD is going to also cover us one helicopter overhead. We will have 2 drones, not the kind of drone that kill our people in Tigray, but the kind of drone that will have surveillance all over. And we're going to be broadcasting it live. And we're not going to discuss final destination, of course, but we'll start about noon. We'll do the chanting. We'll have guest speakers, short speech. Then the motorcycles, cars will go on the road. We will shut down LA. Then when we enter a freeway, the California Highway Patrol, known as CHP, would assist us in making sure that every detail that we go, it's successfully done methodically, and we're going to keep it very peaceful. That is the key.
Sounds great. All right, so it sounds like there's a big plan in place and everything's methodical. How about if somebody is lacking water or passes out or needs some sort of medical attention? What's the plan there?
Okay, so part of the safety team, crowd control, is we will have medical professionals on site. So we have, I won't show it, but on this phone, on this side that I'm at, this is my, obviously, so we have a system in place. We have codes for every potential things that may happen when we communicate in our radios or encrypted system. So if there's an incident, whoever is in that area is going to be able to identify the location. They're going to give us an actual code, and then we're going to have X number of people to head that direction. But most importantly, based on that code, we're going to have immediately our health professionals to give an immediate response on the scene. And then if we need paramedic, we'll have the crowd control team, the traffic control team to assist and guide for a paramedic to have access into any part of the protest that we are gathering. So we got you covered. And then, if we have water, we're going to have water in place. We're going to have different things. But if since you guys are going to be in cars, if you guys load up on water and whatnot, I think that would be very helpful and good for COVID.
Excellent. While you're at it, could you cover the COVID protection? Why they should wear masks? Slamtai gats kashifunu that's glass kurte.
Of course. So you guys know whether you took your shot. So I took my shot, my COVID shot, but regardless, whether you have your shots taken or not, um, mask is still required. It's saving lives. We're talking about genocide to save lives. So why not wear a simple mask to avoid from getting someone could be a carrier if they have a COVID, even if they don't feel it, they could potentially be a carrier. So we need to watch out for those who are vulnerable, potentially can get COVID easily. And by wearing the mask, it is a simple, preventable mask that we can all put in, which is, you guys see my Tigray mask? Bam. Simple as that. I know sometimes when we talk, we can't hear each other. I get it. It's not the best thing to do. But hey, by the way, now he's gonna say like, why are you like promoting like sales here? But I'm gonna have a plenty of like masks for you guys to purchase at a pretty reasonable price. So if you don't come with a mask, or if you want to get a piece of Tigray mask, Tigray flag, shurut, I'm gonna have them all for you.
Why not? I support that. Why not? Help raise money later on. We can help raise money for refugees too. Abzi Slamtagin, even though I'm Mr. Administration Abzi Team Freedom chairman, Kamegarka Sagas Hawis Kamzi Slamtais Ananskans Bahansap Kinsarah Nahel and her Anna Eritrea Sahat Tigray Neha Kamegarna Nisamama Slamtaitis Al Aninika Slamtanis Al Akane Kamegarnas Muhurat Dina Kamegarna Nisamama أنا حزل كان سكايت حزلين بحسب صراحة لنا كما easy.
Well, the short answer to that is we'll live in a civilized society. It's just as simple as that. Our politicians there in America, I mean, before COVID, when they go debate on the floor, I mean, little they can call each other names, right? But it's all love at the end of the day. They come together, they'll go out and have beer together. So if you have civilized mind, if you understand about politics, no matter where you are in the world, there's always going to be differences. There's always going to be different ideas, different thinking, different talk, and all those things. But at the end of the day, we protect human rights. You cannot devalue one ethnic over the other. So why and how do we work together? Because the atrocity that's happening in Tigray impacts Eritrea as well. The refugees, the 20,000 refugees, the Eritrean refugees that were in Tigray, actually out of the 100,000 or so estimated, 20,000 of them, we don't know what happened to them. We presume that they've been killed. 20,000. We have 70,000 plus accounted death in Tigray. So we're working together, and we've been working together because we don't stand for what's happening. Even we are from a different mother, from a different planet, from a different country. But Eritrea and Tigray have lived and coexisted side by side, fought together. But the divisiveness of those who want to hold on to power, like Isaias and Musharraf Ahmed, who's a puppet, has no political experience, was given an obligation. He took an oath. He raised his hand to uphold the constitution in Ethiopia, to serve and protect his people in Ethiopia. He did not do that. So when we see that, no matter the very few people who stand against what we stand for, which is justice and equal for all, we're not going to be like pushed back. So we're working together because we want to put an end to the atrocity, to the pain and suffering for our people in Tigray and Eritrea.
Good answer. Great answer. So بوغر كاسام الاسكالا بتاعمي زي جينا تي سلمتاي سايس ديكتاتور سايس مشرفت ابي احمد سلمتاي بحسب تحقاقيزم نتقراي جنت اميتوما انتاي انا خمسة عامن هجي ناي تي بي ال اف سيتويشن اخونن ناي تي دي اف اخونن انتاي تو مخسبس سلمتاي نتقراي راح اميتوما انتاي مخسب على من رح تقراي تفيا
Well, Isaias مالتك تعرق يتكلم مالتك عندها.
yeah that guy
اما أرق يتكلم أموت جزية حقوق سلاز قبته حرحري زبل سلون سيخا مانكا بحق شرو سر زلو نمت أيو نسو by the way تقرأوا عندي خان من تها تقرأوا تقارو تقول زل هاي لما ناي ما أزر إخم تقول زلهم نايز أنا حقد مينا ديو تنتهزي ناي حيز تقوينو إيرتراوي لي يزعمن إيرتراوي يو كيفلا إيرتراوي لي يزعمن صنحي له حالف أنت لكم جن كاب تقرأي زي ولا ديو المس تفلت أيجن سوزولا زولا هيتردان إساياس ناي ويانا صلي ناي ويانا قيم زحازو نسو زحازو قيتا خينو نيرترا چوكينو نيتيوبيا چوكينو نا إيست أفريكا كينج بوينز نبري مصيرو ونير إذا حيلي مكتاجن سلاز سانة حيزنات علامة أيو ويانا نحرشني في ويانا نحرشني فهم تقرأي هزم نحرشيمو تتقرنيا عرس زارنا إرترا ناي تقرأي هزبي سلام نحر زي رخيبو كل التين نحر تبعيسو أنا صباح نقول داخل من تقرأي سلطان حيزي نزي خوركورناتي بحاطيرو خطفة يخيل يلي حسوي تمشرفت كوركورناتها إذا أرجيت كلبي عرس بعرساتهم خلتيهم من حروادي يم إرتانا تجارو وناتا يردهم من شاتهم بايدوي توم حارو تجارنا إرترا لينتنا يرد أي فلتن يم نحيز قدم وجن هذوي تقرنيا زارب مولو بديسابا رومياز نورو كم صار جنبيرهم كونير يم نا إرترانا تقرا نا إثيوبيا وج تقرنيا زارو تون كاس بك إرتا خايلهم حسولو سلازيو نايم حارة حمام تايزلو عصب تقرايني إرترا سلازا هوا عصب إثيوبيا سلازا كونت إرتراويانا تجارو بعرس موادينا مستدخمو صبحنا قلنا كم እንደገና ጣናኸርና ንኢሳያስ ክመውቲ ወይ ሓይም ክመውቲ ኣረግ ስለ ዝኾነ ወይ ድማ ንውቀትና ኤርትራ ናብ ኢድና ምፅና ብሓይልና ዓሰብና ሒዝና ነጊስና ክንነብር ኢና እዩ ናይ ኣምሓራ ናይ መሽረፈት ካልእ እንተኮይኑ ታ ጥያቄ መሊሰ ናባኻ ክሓተካ
Allah mate
Yeah, I'm here. So I was saying, so that's my, that was my analysis. Obviously, they both think they're outsmarting one another. Abiy Ahmed, he's got his puppets, of course, the Amhara. They think that as soon as they get, weaken Tegaru and Eritreans by having them fighting each other, he will build the Amhara coalition to take over Asab and to make Ethiopia great. I mean, can you imagine Eritrea becoming a federal with what is it? They're talking about bringing Eritrea into Ethiopia.
confederation right
I mean, can you imagine that? What kind of Eritrean man or woman will there be after all the fighting, all the sacrifice Eritreans made, that they will go back? بتقرني أنت أي دي مسلكة حاسب كان أبشك أي
That's a
Anyway,
good saying.
that's that's my that's kind of my opinion.
So let's talk about Abiy Ahmed and his group and how the Amhara is supporting them to include the elites and all that. Um, is it truly ASEP that they want? Is it truly the port and the trading post they want? Or why is it that there's a war specifically targeting Tigray? And then why on the counter is there Eritreans being decimated on purpose? Why do we have 14, 15-year-old Eritreans going to war against TDF knowing that they're going to die? Why is this methodically being or utilized and perpetrated, and they're sent to their death knowing that it's a useless mission? Why wouldn't the Amhara forces or the Ethiopian forces under Abiy Ahmed's administration go to fight TDF themselves? Why are they sitting there watching my brothers and sisters die?
Well, that's easy answer if you're not joking though. Amharas or federal troops without Tigray, they don't know how to fight. What war could they fight in? What war has Amhara fought and won? You notice the Sudanese army is beating their ass. Actually, excuse my language, but they're not even now. They're like protesting, saying that they're demanding the United Nations to take action against Sudan for invading Amhara region. Amhara didn't know how to fight. 17 to 25,000 Tegaru fighters that serve Ethiopia alongside with the Ethiopian federal troops were removed immediately at the beginning of the war, like on November of last year, knowing that the Tigrayan fighters, could you imagine 17 to 25,000 Tigrayan fighters? That what would have done to the rest of the traders, the Ethiopian army? They would have taken them out. They would have eliminated them completely, and Eritrea would not have dared to enter to Tigray. So to come back to the other question, so that's the first answer to the Amhara. They're a bunch of chickens. They can't fight. There's no word that when they talk about the war, even when Italy came and fought in Ethiopia, it was the Tigrayans who stood in the front and fought. They talk about the history of Aksum, the history of Adwa, the Battle of Adwa, both in 1989, excuse me, in 1889, when Italy came, the fight was in Adwa. They came back in 1936. By 1941, Mussolini accepted a defeat in Adwa. Believe it or not, this year, Adwa was celebrated in Addis Ababa. Can you imagine you holding a celebration, the victory of Adwa in Addis Ababa? You see how delusional they are actually?
That's crazy.
And so they don't even know their history. They talk about Ethiopian history, and then when you narrow it down, it's about Tigray. It's about Adwa and Aksum. Well, both cities happen to be in the hearts of Tigray, in central Tigray. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Amhara militia, the Amhara Fana, they are cowards. They can't fight as a man face to face. I mean, in Shire, just recently, one of their soldiers, while they were protecting a bank, accidentally discharged his firearm, and the rest of them rose their hand, threw their AK-47 to the ground. And they all say, "Ijachin set allen," which means like, they're giving up. Just they heard one shot. And I'm serious. This is not a joke, by the way. It's funny, but that's how. But Tagarians, they're fighting to defend their territory. They're fighting to defend their people. They're not invading other Amhara or other region. To come back to the question about Eritrean 15, 16-year-old kids fighting in Tigray, Captain, you have to remember, at the early stages of the fighting, we don't know the actual number. But between the federal troops, the Eritrean troops, the Amhara militia, the Amhara Fana, it was estimated somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 troops had entered to Tigray. We don't know that number for sure. What we do know is on the Ethiopian side alone, in January, 180,000 troops from the Ethiopian army were removed from the Ethiopian payroll. Okay. by mid late February, it was 230. This is not my number, by the way. 230,000 were announced by the Ethiopian Defense Force Payroll Office, meaning that because they get paid monthly, when it was time to pay, you can't pay dead soldiers because they're all dead in the fight in Tigray, right? So if you lost from November to February 230,000 troops, let's assume for a sec 17 to 25,000, we knew that the Tigray fighters were removed. So out of the 230, let's say 25,000 of those were the Tigray troops that were removed from the federal army. That still is over 200,000 Ethiopian federal troops, and Amhara militia are not counted for that because they're in a different payroll. Because they don't receive payment from the federal government, right? So if you have that many, we don't even know how many of the Amhara militia have been killed. So in other words, they are destroyed. Do you know TDF can actually take out the entire Amhara militia, the federal troops within Ethiopia within 1 month if Eritrea pulls its troops and stays in Eritrea? Seriously, they can actually take over the entire Ethiopia. So sadly for the Eritrean side, we heard the names of every Eritrean general on Eritrean TV. It's funny how when they die in Tigray fighting, going after Getachew Reda and Debretsion, we were told each time that they die of COVID. Wait, all of a sudden, all these generals who have lived all these years, they come to Tigray, they're dead. Now we've been told that they die of COVID. We also been told for 5 months, Eritrean troops are not in Tigray. You've been told that you're lying, or you like becoming Wayane, that Eritrean troops are not in Tigray. Sadly, the young people who are fighting in Tigray from Eritrea, they're forced to fight. They don't have a choice. And Isaias does not respect the rule of law. International UN has there's a guidelines. You know more than anybody when it comes to fighting. Anyone under the age of 18 should not be in the military.
Right.
As simple as that. But these young kids, sadly, most of the Eritrean troops that have entered Tigray at the beginning have been decimated. So what do they have to do? They have to go after anybody they can find. And a lot of Eritreans, sadly, over the years, have left the country for to save their lives for better opportunities. And we talked about this. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but the reality is that there are not enough young people over the age of 18 in Eritrea willing to go fight because there's no fight for them to fight to begin with. But also, sadly, many Eritreans have left the country. I mean, when you and I were on Teddy Press the other day, Teddy himself, as a host, he told us he left Eritrea through Tigray and then got to know Tigrayans through his struggle to come to America. I mean, Eritreans in Canada and Europe and America, and Australia and other nations, they'll tell you similar stories. They have left Eritrea because of the evil act by Isaias Afwerki. So I think we can, there's a lot of stories we can tell about. But at the end of the day, for the Eritrean brothers and sisters listening to us right now, when you talk to your loved ones back home, tell them the fight that they're going for in Tigray. Is it worth of dying? What history are you going to tell to Eritreans that you died for in Tigray? What history are you going to tell to your daughters, to your mothers, to your sons that you went to Tigray and rape 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old girl? ከመይ ጅግንነት እዩ ኤርትራዊ ኮይንኩም ምስ ትሕሰብሉ ንትግራወይቲ ፅሪት ህፃን ቆልዓ ምንም ዘይትፈልጥ ወታደር ናይ ኣምሓራ ናይ ኤርትራ ህፃን ቆልዓ ጓል ኣንስተይቲ ምንም ዘይፈልጣ ቆልዑ ክጋሰስዎን ክደፍርዎን እንተለዉ እዚ ውርደት እዩ። ኤርትራ ህዝቢ ከምዚ ኣይኮነ ዝፅበ ኤርትራ ህዝቢ እዚ ኣይድግፍን እዩ። ኤርትራ ኢና እናበልኩም ኣይትሓሱ ኤርትራ ኣይትውክሉ ከም ዝበልኩም ሰባት ኣነ ኤርትራዊ ኣይኮንኩን ግን ምስ ኤርትራውያን ብዙሓት ኣዕሩኽተ ኣብ ካሊፎርኒያ ይፈልጥ ዓብየ እየ። ኤርትራውያን ወለዲ ይፈልጥ እየ። ኤርትራውያን ደቂ ኣንስትዮ ይፈልጥ እየ። ኤርትራውያን ደቂ ተባዕትዮ ይፈልጥ እየ። ከምዚ ረሳሕ ጨካን ኤርትራዊ ግን ርአ ይፈልጥን ዝገብርዎ ዘሎ ኣብ ትግራይ ስለዚ እቲ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ሰሩይ ህዝብና እቲ ረሳሕ ግፍዒ ዝሰርሕ ንደቂ ኣንስትዮ ህፃውንቲ ዝደፍር ህፃውንቲ ተጋሩ መንእሰይ ዓብዮም ፅዋሕንጎ ቃልሲ ገጢሞም ምስ ወያነ ከይኾኑ ኢሉ ዝሓርድ ዘሳቂ እዚ ኤርትራዊ ኣይኮነን ንኤርትራዊ ኣይውክልን ብምንም ኣብ ትግራይ ከይዲ ሽሮ ዝሰርቕ ማንካ ዝሰርቕ ድስቲ ዝሰርቕ ኣረጊት ቀምሽ ናይ ኣንስቲ ዝሰርቕ እዚ ኤርትራዊ ይድግፍን ኤርትራውያን ኣሕዋት እዚኣ ክትሕዝዋ ኣለኩም ስለዚ ኣነ ዳዊትን ባይዘወይ ኣነ ካብትን ኤርትራን ብሓደ ንሰርሖ ዘለና እዚያት ነድኦኩም ኣይኮና ክነፍልጥ ክትፈልጡ እዚ ግን ትፈልጥዎ ኣለኩም እዞም ትክክል ኣይኮነን ጀኖሳይድ ኣብ ትግራይ የለን ኤርትራውያን ወታደር ኣብ ትግራይ የለውን እናበሉ ዝፀንሑ ግን ሒዚ ከ እንታይ እዮም ኩልና እንታይ መምክንያት የምፅኡና ኣለዉ ሒዚ ከ እንታይ ሕሶት እዮም ዝኣልሙ ዘለዉ ግደፉ ክወግሕ እዩ እዚ ነገር እዚ ኣብ መጨረሻ ኣኒወይ ክውስኸልኩም እየ እዚ ግን ክወግሕ እዩ ግደፉ ክወግሕ ስለ ዝኾነ ኢና ንሕና ሒዚ ብሓደ ሕብረታዊ ንሰርሖ ዘለናማ ይርደአና እዩ ንሕና ከም ዝወግሕ ቃልሲ ግን ከላሽን ሒዝካ ጥራይ ኣይኮነን ውግእ ንህዝብና ንቃለሶ ዘለና ትርእይዎ ኣለኹም መዒንትና ኣነ ዳዊት ካብትን ኤርትራን ኣብ ስራሕ ኢና ውዒልና ሂዘዳድ ኣመዳድ ቆልዑ ኣለውና እዮም ናይ ባዕልና ፋሚሊ ኣለውና እዮም ናይ ባዕልና ኣሜሪካ ንዛወሮ ዘለና ሰላማዊ ሰልፊ ንገብሮ ዘለና ንዑ ብሓደ ንኹን ንብለኩም ዘለና ፅባሕ ንግሆ ህዝቢ ትግራይ ሕነ ክንፈድን ኤርትራ ይብልን ነቶም ሕነ ዝፍደዩ ግን እቶም ግፍዒ ዝሰርሑ ደቂ ኣንስትዮ ሕማቅ ዝሰርሑ ኣብ ኢዶም ዘሎ ደም ሓፂቦም ተሓዊኦም ኣይነብሩን እዮም ብምንም ተኣምር እዚ ከይትሰሓትዎ ማንም ዝኾንካ ኤርትራዊ እዚ ከይትሰሓት ዋላ ንሃትካ ኣሕዋትካ ኮይኖም ኣብ ትግራይ ከይዶም ግፍዒ ዝሰርሑ ፅባሕ ንጎ ተጠየቕቲ ከም ዝኾኑ እዚ ክንፈልጦ ኣለና እዚ ኢልና ግን ህዝቢ ኤርትራን ህዝቢ ትግራይን ብሰላም ክነብር ኢና ንደሊ ይነብር ነይሩ እዩ መውስዎ ዝሓዘ ሰብ እዩ ዝተወላለደ እዩ ኣነ ምስ ኤርትራውያን ከይደ ትግርኛ ክዛረብ እንተለኹ ትግራዋይ እየ እንተዘይለኩም ኣይትፈልጡንን ሓደ ኤርትራውያን መፅኡ ምስ ተጋሩ ብትግርኛ ናውግዐ ኤርትራዊ እየ እንተዘይሉ ኤርትራዊ ምዃኑ ኣይትፈልጡና እዚኣ ኣስተውዕል ዞም ኣሕዋት ይቅርታ ንውሕዮ ዘረባ anyway እቲ ጥያቄ ሓፂር ይኽብኦ ነይሩ sorry captain but I think you should also have a say because I think the audience want to hear your perspective why we are doing this protest we're coming together too.
Perfect. So yes, for me, there's a lot of Eritreans that are quiet and that support the side supporting. Those people, they're brainwashed, and I understand. If you're cool with supporting my brothers and sisters in Eritrea being oppressed, our refugees in Tigray getting abducted and sent back to Eritrea to what type of concentration camps are they put in? You don't even know where they're at. All our brothers and sisters that are in prison, political prisoners, nobody's speaking about this. But one thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to be on a platform to hate each other. I'm not going to come on here and disrespect Tegarus. They're not going to do. Since I've started this campaign, I have had not one Tigrayan disrespect me yet. Not one. The only one turns out he was some sort of fake account. Again, كنتحاجز نخل بناتنا كنركب بحنساب كنتحاجز نخل أنا مس مايكي تراخيبه سلام سلفي قبر له تتيوم إرتراوي حواتي أتكيتهم زلو كتسو يسعر له سي تي أجندة علامة تنسر حزننا كنا نسأل أبزي نات عامنا أبزوكو تعيمنا ندك اس نبالع نساتي أبوها يموتو يأسرو يقتلوا كل له سي تشجر له دك إرترياجين ترقيسهم كزارب يقولون يوم تأثيرهم ولا حرز زارب لهم سينهم حجواز زاربهم الله ولا تيم تأثيرهم زله أنا زارب لهم الله سو تسوق لكم كلهم أتقيتهم الله بزح كدقفوني زدالي جناس قيتهم أبوهم أديهم حفتهم يحواتهم أبعدي سلا زلو يرداني جين نهات قيت كان تايمو لوت إيمت إني بحنسب تحقق جزنا جين بزح حزبي سلا زخون لوت إيهم يجرنا خنم سنخل هجنزيا شوي أيلت حفاتو زلا. She said, really, what are you smoking? TPLF was getting all this money, making Ethiopia poor. Who was doing this? TPLF. Mike, if you want to answer that in the economic standpoint of how Ethiopia was booming during the TPLF regime and so on.
Of course. By the way, ጓል ኣንስተይቲ እያ ሓፍትና እያ ዋልኩም እንተበለ ዘይፈለጠቶ ክነምህራ ኢና እምበር ክንፀርፋ ክነደፍራ ይንኽእል ኢና ኣይንደሊና ዕላማና ኣይኮነን ስለዚ ዝሓፍተይ ያው ትግራዊት ኮንኪ ኤርትራዊት ኮንኪ ኣብ ትግራይ ከይድ ከም ዘይትፈልጢ እቲ ፅሓፍክዮ ይምስክር ንባዕሉ
I think she's
ሃፍተር
Amhara. I think she's from. I think she's Amhara from what I read.
okay so let me switch it then because she won't be able to understand Tigrinya. So I'm gonna actually ሸዋያ አለ ይኸውልሽ እናንተ ሁሉ ጊዜ እያዋሻችሁ ትግራዋይ ወደ መቀሌ ንብረታችን ወደ ቀበሌ ያላችሁ የምትናገሩ የነበረ ድሮ ፕሮፓጋንዳ መሽን ይሄ ነው ስለዚህ I'm going to switch it into English. I just gave her a little frame of her language, but let me tell you something. I am certain that this woman has never been in Tigray, have no idea the last 25 plus years. You know, Captain, the first time when I went to Ethiopia, actually, it was 21 years ago. I flew from Cali to Addis, and I couldn't find like one clear paved road. So in my head, I'm thinking Haile Selassie, Mengistu, they made Addis Ababa like looking beautiful city, like bunch of palaces and mansions and all these things. Seriously, like because you know I'm like first time going to Ethiopia, I'm like my expectation was high, but since I was born in Tigray, I didn't have high expectation in Tigray because I know what Tigray looks like. But to the rest of Ethiopia, particularly Addis Ababa, I've never been there before. So 21 years ago was my first time. I go in, guys are standing like everywhere you walk, just peeing, literally out on the street. And then you look in that corner, there's like they're squatting, like taking dump. And I'm like, so anyway, so I said, hey, when are we gonna go to Addis to the city? Because I'm thinking like I'm just like somewhere nearby town that I landed. And I was like, seriously, I was confused. So I'm asking them, like, where's Addis? They're like, you're in Addis. I'm like, no, the city. They're like, you are in the city. I'm like, no. Like, you guys stop messing with me. They're like, no, seriously, we're in the city. I'm like, where are the roads? Paved roads or like buildings? They're like, this is it. I was like, wow. Then I went back like every 3 to 4 years after that. And then each time I went back, I'm seeing all this like infrastructure, buildings like after building, skyscraper after skyscraper. I mean, the economy was just like booming. It even beat Russia. It was growing by 10% GDP annually. Ethiopia became the number one in the world in growth economically. Imagine. And it was, I mean, you could ask every Oromo who's traveled throughout Ethiopia and have seen before and after Addis Ababa, made like how beautiful throughout Ethiopia has become. Along the way, I wish that they did enough for Tigray to build it. But you know what? This is what they did. They lied to their children and grandchildren without seeing anything on the ground in Tigray, saying everything is stolen to Tigray, which isn't true, right? They complain how the leadership has been from Tigray. They're given the leadership roles in military, in various infrastructures. And then they complain that in the top leadership, still it was not held by them. And look what happened. When Desalegn Hailemariam resigned, Abiy Ahmed came to power, you have ethnic cleansing. That same woman, she say, what about the Amhara that are being killed now? Are you doing anything about it? Which ones? The ones that are fighting the Oromo? The ones that are fighting the Beshangul Gamaz? Or the cowards who are raping and killing kids in Tigray? In return, TDF is making them pee in their pants, and before they fire a bullet, they're raising their hands and saying, "Ijachin Setanar." We gave up, which is what it means, what I just say in Amharic. So which one is that? So, for me, because she's a woman, I'm not going to disrespect her. But I hope as a woman, she has the heart to understand that She should not support genocide. She should say no to rape, no matter who it is, to any woman, particularly. When another woman is raped, when another woman is a victim, she should rise up and say, we cannot allow that. I don't care if that's Amhara woman. I don't care if that's Tigrayan woman or Eritrean woman. Any woman, any girls should not be facing rape. So for this woman, I say to you, cleanse yourself. If you go to church, if you go to mosque, whatever God you believe in, have a soul search and ask yourself, if you have a daughter or if you become a mother someday, and if your daughter is raped at age 7 by multiple soldiers, what are you going to say to the world? Are you going to say, oh, my daughter deserved that because my tribe wore rough into another tribe? Is that the story that you want to tell? I won't criticize you no matter what. Because I saw the chat on the side, by the way, many of them say negative things to her. I'm not going to go to that level. But I think it's really important for us to rise above that and think, the bigger picture, bring in the Tagarians and the Eritreans. And you know what, Captain, actually, on the next protest, I know I'm getting myself ahead, but we're going to bring the Oromo into our platform. We're going to unite Eritrean, Tegaru, Oromo together. And the Oromo's already like making a big, I mean, you saw in DC, the DC police actually stopped us completely because they saw a huge crowd of Tigrayans going one direction. The Oromos coming another direction. We were just facing this way. Police got in between us. They say, "No, you guys cannot go towards each other. We don't want you guys to fight." And we're like, "No, we're not going to fight." Like, no, you guys are Tigrayan. They can't say Tigray correctly. Those are Oromo. We're like, yes, two different tribes with same goal. We can't stand, the genocide in Tigray. So we're gonna like not only like support each other, but we're gonna merge and be one. That's what we did. So now Tigrayans, Eritrean in LA this Saturday. We're going to hold hands. We're going to lock arms. We're going to be together. Those of you from the Amhara, now you got it twisted. I'm sorry, you got it twisted. You can't just destroy and kill Tigray people and destroy Tigray, cross over and become neighbor with Eritreans. It's just not. So your fakeness has been exposed. That's all I gotta say to this young lady.
So thank you, Mike. So Miss Shuwaye Ayele, when I first started this campaign, if you actually watch me, because I'm sure you just hopped on now, you would see I had the whole African to include Amhara, Tigrayan, Eritrean. I was doing shows. Hey, we're one people, peace, love, and happiness. And just like Mike said, this is a gentleman's platform, so we're not gonna disrespect your half day, but you have to understand something. Right now, who's facing genocide? So if we focus on who's facing genocide, right? If Amhara was facing genocide and Tigray was the country attacking Amhara, then yes, then we'd be speaking for you. But right now, Tigray is facing genocide, not Amhara, right? That's the whole point of this. It isn't that we're singling you out. We're just saying right now, the majority of the people that are dying are in Tigray. And Tigray is pinpointed by two dictators. And there's a campaign against Tigray and to totally remove Tigray from the face of the earth, utilizing genocide. Had this just been regular war, soldier versus soldier, not citizens, then it wouldn't be an issue. But you're here, and I don't know if you're attempting to distract or whatever, it's not working. I'm trying to explain to you if soldiers go, and I'm speaking because I used to be a soldier, right? If soldiers go to war with each other, they go to war with each other on a political platform, right? Because you got politicians and leaders causing these issues. But when you target the citizens, you've crossed the line. You're at a whole different arena. This no longer becomes a political play, soldier versus soldier. This is now, I'm going to remove the entire Hizbi of Tigray. That's wrong. It doesn't matter if you're the enemy of Tigray or you support Tigray. That's just wrong in general. But you don't have to believe me and Mike. You don't. You don't have to believe us. Listen to the rest of the world. We're not the only two saying this. The entire planet, the entire globe is saying this is wrong. Doctors, lawyers, scientists, politicians, everyone. So you're not here to dispute us. Go dispute the people that have the intellectuals that have been learning politics for 100 years, that have mastered politics. So if we're wrong, how is the rest of the world wrong? But the problem with Habesha is we only speak. Oh, I'm gonna make Eritrea look good, so I don't care what happens in Tigray. I'm gonna make Tigray look good, so I don't care what happens in Eritrea. I'm gonna make Amhara look good. I don't care what Amharas did here and there. Oh, and by the way, because there's a lot of Neftenias that come after me, and I figured you guys out. I can smell you a mile away. This isn't about preserving Tigrina speakers, just so you guys know. This is about preserving a nation. It just so happens that they speak Tigrina. Mish, it just so happens Tigrina Zarumbar, wala Amharena Zaru, wala Chinese Zarunerum, Mandarin or whatever. We'd be speaking on behalf of them. Don't turn this into Agazian and this and all these little agendas. Everybody comes here and tries to downplay the situation. The one thing that gets me most upset is when people try to downplay the genocide. Before it was proven there was Eritrean troops in Tigray, I kept saying, listen, there's Eritrean troops in Tigray over and over, and everybody went against me. And I keep telling you guys, they're there. Why? Because when TPLF or TDF or Tigray shot the missiles to Eritrea, that was a warning to Isaias Afwerki, stop trying to intervene. That was the first warning shot. They could have shot the missile somewhere else and destroyed a lot more people if they really had pinpointed it to Hizbi. They sent a message out, right? And everybody's like, no, they attacked Eritrea first. And I'm like, that's not a military strategist would have advised against that. Why would you be fighting a full military force, an entire country of millions of people by yourself, and then go attack your neighbor just so you can get decimated faster? You got to use logic. Quit the hate. Think logic. That's the issue I have with everyone. Utilize logic. If I'm going to fight Mike, I'm not going to turn around and fight the guy behind me so I could get jumped. What kind of sense does that make? This is common sense that people don't utilize. Anyways, so should we, whatever, I speak for all. I speak for everyone. Mike has been in BLM protests too. That's the part that people can't accept about us. So with that being said, sister, kindly, you are dismissed. We don't have time for propaganda, wasting time and be distracted. If you don't like it, you might want to go to there's a guy with a hat that talks about how great Amharas and this and that. This ain't about Amharas. This is about Habeshas, and this is about the genocide in Tigray. That's what this platform is about. Now back to that Selamai selfie before we were really distracted. Let's discuss that Selamai selfie. How epic do you think that Selamai's Kamei Hon? Abinagar do? Kamei is Maslaka Mai.
Well, እንታይ ድመሲልካ ሓፍትና ክንገድፋ ኢና ግን እንታይ ይበሃል ለምሳሌ መስለካ ባኣና ፀማምሲ ሓንቲ ደርፉ ይብልዎ ስለዘይሰምዕ ሓንቲ ደርፊ ጥራይ ይሰምዕ ምክንያቱ ይሰምዓን እዩ ናይዚ ሓፍትና ዝሪኦ ዘለኹ ከዓ ሓንቲ ዘረባ እያ ዘለታ 27 ዓመት እናለት ትፅሕፍ ፀኒሓ 27 ዓመት እማ ሳላ ወያነ ዘህፍተመዎም በሊዖም ከብዶም ከም 6 ወርሒ ጥንሲ ሰበይቲ ኮይኖም መብዛሕትኦም መሃር ዝርከቡ ባይ ዘ ወይ ትግራይ ከይዶም ክመቱ ኣለዉ እኮ ተመዛብኖም እዮም ዝመርፁ ስጋ ስለ ዘለዎም ብዙሕ ነብሶም ናይ ኣሞራ ናይ ዝብን ቀለብ እዮም ኮይኖም ዘለዉ ሰላማዊ ሰልፊ ግን ዕላማና ዲስትራክሽን ዘይኮንና ካብዚዩ ብገፊሑ ነሕልፎ ዘለና ብጣዕሚ ብዙሕ ሰብ ይመፀና ዘሎ ንምንታይ እዩ እቲ ሓቅነት ዘለዎ ሒዝና መስመርና ንኽእል ዘለና እዩ ኤርትራውያን ተጋሩ ናብ ዓለም ሙሉእ እስካብ ሒዚ በተለይ መብዛሕትኦም ኤርትራውያን ህዝብና ኣብ ኤርትራ ዘሎ ቤተሰብና ዘመንና ከይጉዳእ ሕማቅ ነገር ይምፀሉ እናበለይ እናተጣራጠረ ፀንሐን ብዙሕ ኣሎ እዩ ሒዚ ግን ከም ዝርእይዎ ዘለዉ እንድሕር ከምዚ ህዝቢ ትግራይ ግፍዕ እንድሕር መፂዎ ኣምሓራ ፅዋሕ ንጎኸ ንህዝቢ ኤርትራ እንታይ እዩ ክገብረሉ ኢሉ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ተረዲእዎ እዩ ዳስት ኣብዚ ዘጠራጥር ነገር የለን ባይ ዘ ወይ ስለዚህ ኾነ ሒዝ ንሕና ሙሉእ በቃ ዝመጽእ ዘሎ መዓት ኤርትራዊ መዓት ተጋሩ ብፅሬት ብሓቅነት እዩ ሓቢርና ንሰርሖ ጽባሕ ንግሆ ብበዝሒ ግን ሓይሊ ንኢሳያስን ንመሽረፈት ኣሕመድን አንቀጥቂጡ ብድንጋጼም ክቐትሎም ይኽእል እዩ ስለዚ ኣብ ዓለም ዘለኹም መናእሰይ ኤርትራውያን ተጋሩ ተወሱ ተበገሱ ብትዊት ብኣክቲቪዝም ተፋጣጠኑ ኣብ ኣሜሪካ ዘለኹም hopefully we'll see you guys on Saturday. We expect the biggest crowd ever. Again, we're going to shut down LA. So those of you, particularly in the US, if you don't come and join us, you're going to miss out the biggest protest ever held by Tigrayans and Eritreans together. So you want to be part of the history, fighting for Tigray, fighting for the refugees, the Eritrean refugees. You want to stand for justice for our people. ንህዝቢ ግፍዒ ተሰርሐሉ ኤርትራውያን ተጋሩ ብሓደ ኮይና ታሪክ ንሰርሐሉ ኤፕሪል 17 ስለ ዝኾነ ኣፍታ ታሪክ ግዜ ንዑ by the way 400 ናይ ኤርትራ ባንዴራ ተዘጋጅየሉ እዩ 200 ናይ ትግራይ ባንዴራ ባዕለ ሒዘ ይመፀለኹ እየ ስለዚ ባንዴራ ተጋሩ ባንዴራ ዘይሓስኩም ንዑ ኤርትራውያን ባንዴራ ዘይሓስኩም ናይ ሃገርኩም ናይ ኤርትራ ንዑ ተዘጋጅዩ ባንዴራ እናንበልበልና ዓለም ሙሉእ ከም ዝንቅጥቀጥ ንገብር ኣለና ኢና so I'm looking forward to make this successful protest that we've been working so hard. You know, I have to say this. People don't realize how much work we've been putting in this. To the point where, could you imagine some of these evenings, like we're like what? On a 4 or 5 hour Zoom meetings and plannings and all this discussion, literally like we're just like, man, I mean, not to mention like how many times we call each other during the day to plan to make sure everything is like methodical. So for those of you who might see something a little bit that might not be 100% perfect, we're working so hard to make everything work perfect. So if you in healthcare, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, hey, send a message to Captain Eritrea. Send me a message on Facebook. Look me up under Mike Kasahun. We need to talk to you. We want you to help us. Volunteer, provide service. Remember BLM, that's how we made it successful. We utilize volunteers. We have doctors without borders. We have nurses without borders, right? So that's what we're going to build, by the way. We're going to build Eritreans, bridges between Tegaru and Eritreans. That's going to be a coalition of nurses working together, doctors working together, lawyers working together, accountants working together, engineers working together. So when Tigray is free from the atrocity, the pettiness of the theft that you guys seen, Tigray will get rebuilt together. There is plenty of Tegaru and Eritreans that have plenty of resources and money and connection in the Western Hemisphere that we will all go together and rebuild it. And you know what? The 30 years of dictatorship that has become numbed for many of you Eritreans, no. Goodaful. Is you? Is it Hadasa? Hada. Isas Afork Boynus comes together, Hizvi Ertra. Hizvi Ertra, by the way, ካብ 3 እስከ 4 ሚልዮን እዩ ዘሎ ዓዲ ይበሃል ካብ 10 ላዕሊ ሚልዮን ብናይ ሂዚ ግዜ ኣብ 30 ዓመት ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ናጽነት ክኸውን ተላ ካብ 6 ሚልዮን ላዕሊ ነይሩ ባይ ዘ ወይ ሰብ ክዋለድ ክባዛሕ እንተለኮ ይበዝሕ እምበር ኣይቕነስን ኢሳያስ ግን ከመይ ኣይኮነን ቀኒሱ ወይ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ተን ቆንጀታት ፍቆደ ዓረብ ከይደን ተደፈራ ኤርትራውያን ኩሉ ዓለም ግዜ ቶም ቆንጀታት ኣብ ባሕሪ ከይዶም ናብ ካሊእ ሃገር ክወፁ ጠሊቆም ዝሞቱስ እቶም ኣብ ሊብያ ብአይሲስ ተሓረዱስ ግደፉ ኤርትራውያን ደጋጊመ ግደፉ ይብለኩም ናብ ልብኩም ዘይተመለስኩም ተልኩም ተመለሱ ንዑ ስለዚሁ Aba you repeat gorna Ababa Rivera, Aba Iturala. It's gonna be in Los Angeles, California. You know what? 5800 Sunset Boulevard. I actually have the location memorized in my head. This is how much I've been working with my fellow Tagarians and Eritreans to make this successful, guys. I'm not bragging, but I'm letting you know. We have been like, I even got like, look at that. I even got darker instead of like lighter. You got lighter than me, bro. Anyway,
Thank you, Mikey. Abzi Ababa Haftina, Ababa Rivera, 5800 West, letter W, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90028. I'll repeat that. 5800 Hamushte Shomonte Bado Bado, W West, Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90028. And this is organized by Team Freedom, um, Tigrayans and Eritrean Coalition in Southern California, April 17th, 2021, Saturday, 12 p.m. فارسهم كلهم زراهم جينا قبلكم كلهم قطيفكم أبو تو maybe ساعة سرت نجو ساعة سرت حدا that way parking خمسي مش جرالو that way you're not struggling قطيفكم رأتكم يبلد كبدلا also أبزي electoral college vote تفوتوا أخم أبزي map United States قوم جرى مسماي كوفيلة ولا أنا Europe كنا واتوينا Germany كله حريو Team Freedom many representative Eritrean حدا تجراين حدا حجي for example Team Freedom Atlanta حفتنا فيفن سبحان الله clever سبحان الله سامري ماري سنايا Team Freedom Atlanta to مرحتيها مش and to ladies تاني we appreciate it because نستي حياتي كان عندما كنينا مساحة أنا حدا تجراين كن عندنا Team Freedom Atlanta Eritrean chapter مسوعنا فيفن تملس تجراين chapter مسوعنا إنت تجراين سبتمبر يملس حريقهم مجرنا خنكايرة هنا doctors lawyers كما يقبلوا كله حيلهم مجرنا سلام على سلفي حاجز سلدي مصا كمزي مصا مسجبرة كم مجرنا إن نتحاجز بيوروب كاني ما بابنو خبلومينا ات headquarters جين كنا كايرة هنا دحنا كنا زاربول هنا جين أنت ساعات ودينا لنا and let me give Mike one last chance to speak كي وص أنا خلنا أنا computer room كنا كايرة من على بعد واتس إن اتصال ما صفي who knows جنا كله جنا room كسريحة كتريهم anyhow Mike go ahead any last words
ترى فرح خارج حباية ترزل
هيك دفع خيمة عني مش
نحن
أنا يفرحني معك
سمع
فرحلوني
حق دافعين فرح باي ذا واي لايف سلازل نمبر نحن أقولنا نحزو خالي باي ذا واي إننا بزيد فقط نجار لنا أمريكا أيوة ما بتنايو نحن هيوتنا نحلو ما بتلنا أيوة. This is America. So anyway, I saw Salamina Abraham. Thank you حتنا تا أدراشنا صحيفة تدلا correction نيشتين تدلا 5800 W Sunset Boulevard W West Equanen. So if you guys are taking this note, thank you. We appreciate you, Haftana. Again, the word West needs to be removed, and it should only be 5800 W Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. Tabota. Kau ne Captain Nisha corrections the one taya. مكاين حسكم تموت حوات decoration تقولوا ساعات عسرتن فرقانا وتركوا له
okay
بانديراتات بلونا يفقدن እዩ ኒ celebration ትገብሩ ኣለኹም ተባሂሉ ስለ ዝኾነ ባንዴራ ፅሕፈት ናይ ጀኖሳይድ ተባሂሉ ትግራይ ጀኖሳይድ እናተባሃለ ፅሕፈት ኣብ መስኮትኩም ዝስረዝ ዘለው ዓይነት ጌርኩም ባንዴራታት ከዓን ዘየለኩም መፂኹም ገዚእኹም ደክሬት ትገብርዎን መካይንኩም ግን it's going to start at 10:30 so that means you should plan for showing up starting at about 10 o'clock in that area. We're going to decorate, you're going to decorate your cars. We're going to, have some activities at around 11:45 to noon. We're going to start putting together the chants and whatnot. At about noon, basically, we're going to jam it. We're going to go on until o'clock. We're gonna have some speeches, some rallies, and all that good stuff in front of the TV station. Then we're gonna head over to CNN headquarters. Then we're gonna head to another location. Then we're gonna have a good chant. We're gonna get our cars. Basically, you're gonna park. Those of you will be driving. After we go to CNN headquarters, there will be another location. We're going to tell you, we're going to have our safety team to tell you when we get to our destination where you'll be parking your cars, getting out of your cars. And yes, you're going to be protesting, screaming, sweating, doing all that good stuff, right? So then after that, we're going to go into another location to join the motorcycle riders and everybody to eat and celebrate and have a good time. So I think that's pretty much. So I think I covered it both in Tigrinya and English, right? I think
Yes.
we yeah. So
All
yeah,
right.
that's kind of what you guys looking at. Oh, you corrected it. I see. I'm looking at the post too. By the way, I'm reading all the comments.
Excellent. I just didn't put the what do you call it? The zip code. What's the zip code? 98. What was it? 900.
Um, yeah, but I think the moment they put 5800 West Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California,
It's gonna
that
pull
should
up.
come up. Yep.
90028. Right.
There you go.
90028. All right.
So
That
we're looking
wraps.
forward to seeing you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate the support. Stay positive. Take care of yourself. Stressful times are easy to fall apart. But you know what? تفتينا أنا قد محيزون. Ertrawen Tagarun, they sagarna yorwa, they de yona yogo edlan. Awatgin, Tigray come to Uwat, Tigray nats ahoyna hagar come to Hogulgun, man nim Tigrawai, the Tarata Rela. The Tarata Tigrawai into Hoynugin, Tigrawai, I cannot kafflet.
Absolutely. Mike still there?
Yep.
Okay. You froze for a second. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yahwate, Abotat, Adetat, Kulahum. Namasginokum. Thank you for watching us. Atahalalafua, before we leave, Hansab Shergawarwa, meeting Hamsa Galalahum. Yakanele, Mike, thank you for coming. Next time, can Melasina, more Tagarus, can Tuina, more Eritreans, unity, highly عودت حزبي تدمت حزبي بخوم قرنا عن انا خير بر سلاتاني زارمنا مثلا يلا ولا حنت محما يلا
That's right.
حيلتينا
It's all about love.
وراتينا nothing but love and
Yep.
نقدمي دخلنا عني we're gonna build and build and build ده حرا بالدم زي خفل كمايك زبالو مساي team freedom رح تدقوا فوقكم then نتنتهم كله تدالي we're gonna create peace love and unity. That's our main goal. If you guys come over there with an open mind. Be happy. Bring water. Don't forget your mask. Some of you wear gloves. Harun ani jacket tamtun. Grafo to makina gina t-shirt kani sila 68 degrees, 7 degrees khoni after salamai selfie. We want to thank you. We love you. Not inat na Eritrea and not inat na Tigray. Both dictators remove gerna. Naqmit kan kaidina. One love, Team Freedom.
Tigray to Uwat.
Okay, good night.
Good night.